Hello, this is forecaster Dante Brown-Royal, winter weather expert from the Weatherman Storm Prediction Center. Here with my promised winter weather outlook for 2012-2013 video, explaining into greater detail what's coming up for this upcoming winter. I'm sorry that it's taken so long. I've been busy. I've had a number of things to do, but here it is. So we're going to get started. Try to go through this quickly, and we're going and hope you can break it down and so that you can understand it more efficiently. I'll try to be on Twitter tomorrow at Weather Advance. That's one word on Twitter. Later tomorrow night, but stay tuned to the website, and I'll tell you when I'll be answering questions to our winter forecast up there. So you have to have a Twitter account. We're no longer a Facebook account, so you have to be there to be able to hear it. It's only going to be a 30-minute window. Not every question is going to be answered, but we're going to do our best there, okay? So without further ado, let's get started. Well, it wants to start, that is. As I said, this is the winter 2012-2013 outlook. And after last year, a lot of forecasts, our forecast, I'm going to admittedly say this, our forecast blew straight out the water last year. This year we're going back to the fundamentals of doing the forecasting. One storm blew us off, the month of October, along with that huge storm. We thought that was going to be the pattern, but one thing that you have to look at is all the other factors, and if all those other factors are saying it's not going to remain like this, that's what you have to go with. That's why I originally was going in. I changed it after October. That's not good forecasting. And we learned something from it at Weather Advance, as well as a number of other forecasters and meteorologists, because a lot of us got it wrong. But here's one factor: the state of the NAO. One thing you have to notice that since July through month of July into the month of June, it's been in the negative phase, and even in the month of May, it was neutral, wavered under most of May to neutral, spiked around late May, and then in June it just went negative, and then it's projected to go again positive as we head up into August. But I don't really buy that, because like in early July, it was supposed to go positive, and it really never did. So it probably is going to go up a little bit more from where it is, but to expect anything significant going to the positive NAO, I doubt it. But one thing I want to point out is the trend. Look at the trend starting earlier in the year. It's gone from the positive phase, pretty much because it was very positive earlier in the year, to a neutral kind of negative phase, and it kind of worked its way down to negative. I think we have to keep an eye on this, because this looks like that'll going to be the trend, and that's the trend. That means we'll have a trough in the east, and chances are a ridge in the west. And if we have that, if that's going to be the scenario, that's a very good setup for snow in the eastern half of the United States. The western half, maybe not so much. So let's move on. Here's the second factor, the state of the PNA. This is really intertwined, because when you look at the PNA, that's pretty much a good indication of whether or not you're going to have that ridge in the west. As you can see, starting early in the year, around April 1st, it's been neutral, negative, but it's hopped around. About mid-June, it went a little negative. To me, it looks like we've had more neutral to positive, neutral to positive, neutral to positive than we have neutral to negative phases over the past over the past 6 months or so. And as you can see, as we head through mid-July, it's been negative, and it's kind of looking like it's projected to go positive again. What you want, if you want snow in the east, you want a positive NAO. We have to see this pattern continue, and I believe it will as we head into a further phase, the El Nino, which is another factor we'll be looking at. But the El Nino, I believe, will cause, as we head on into it, because it's developing now. From now to September, it should be developing. But I believe that you will see a more of a positive phase coming up pretty soon. Now, I think we went too far. Now we go off to the AO, which is another factor that we look in. And you look at it, it's been pretty much neutral starting April to pretty much June. It dipped a little bit in late April and early May, but that was it, neutral to positive from early April to about June. Then we had a period from June 1st to the 15th that was negative, then neutral pretty much, and then another dip around the 10th of July, and then from 15th of July all the way out till now it's been positive. But what you want to see is this to go -2 along with the NAO. So you know that you're going to have that supply of cold air when the storms come up the coast because of that negative trough. So that's one thing that you want. You want that in the east. We're going to have to watch this one very closely because it's been hard to tell what the trend or the pattern is. So we're going to have to see that over the next several months. We should know by October, late October, early November, what that pattern is going to be. So that's another factor. Another one is that we're going into an El Nino cycle, as I mentioned earlier. And typical El Nino, this is precipitation from pretty much 1951 to 2007. Now, I want you to take notice that in the southeast, it's usually rainier than average during El Nino winters, right along coastal areas. And just look at how it's formed in a kind of okay, for lack of a better word, in a pretty straight line. You can almost tell where the storm tracks are, and that's what we're going to see. I believe storms have developed starting pretty much over Texas and then pull up in the Gulf, gather that Gulf moisture, and as they continue to develop, to really explode off the coast and then come on up the coast, and that's where you're going to see that above average precipitation across the east. You go a little farther inland, you're going to see probably some drier conditions, as well as into areas of the Midwest, some drier than normal conditions. You go into the west, around average until you get to the Pacific Northwest, where it looks like where typically is drier than average. Pacific Southwest is wetter than average, slightly. I think that's going to be probably flipped the case this year. But we're going to see. I have to look a little deeper into that, but I believe that this scenario will be flipped. Temperature-wise, you're going to see, according to